How you doing? JB versus the world. What created your passion for writing?
For writing, well, the short answer is reading. I mean, I loved reading books when I was younger a lot, and it's just, you know, like, it almost sounds cliche, right? But books take you away from anything, and I would often, I don't know how many hours would go by just from reading, and so in time, I just, I don't know if I was any good at it, but I just wanted to create my own variations of these worlds, basically. Yes, sir.
What was your most memorable experience you've had while writing children's books?
While writing, you know, the times when I talk with my editor, those are my favorite times, because it always surprises me how, and I have the same editor, she was from Scholastic, but then she's at Random House now, so my last couple books are at Random House, as how she always makes it better, and I just truly enjoy hearing the smart things she says. I mean, like, she is trying to make something funnier, and that's my favorite moments, really, is actually working with my editor.
Can I ask you what your favorite book that you read that kind of moved you to the point of wanting to write?
Well, okay, so yeah, the books I do now, I write picture books and chapter books, and my newest one's is a graphic novel, and there's a couple, I guess, that are real seminal. One of them is a series of Junie B. Jones and Barbara Parks books, and those books, I think they're just hilarious. They're so well written. I just always wish that they were longer and had more pictures, and so that kind of led to my Third Grade Mermaid series for Scholastic, and then it's the Last Kids on Earth series, and so at Max Brailer's books, and I think I love those. There's a lot of writing in there, but there's a lot of pictures, and so I just kind of wanted to, that really is I have to go to that level. We have the same agent, actually, Max Brailer and myself, and so Dan, my agent, was like, you should do your own graphic novel, and I can tell you the brief story about how I got it. My newest book is about speed cubing, and actually my son is very, very fast. Years ago, he could do it he averaged about 10 seconds, I'm doing that, and when my agent saw him do that at an ALA conference, he was like, there's got to be a book in this, and it's never been done, a graphic novel about competitive speed cubing.
How did you come to be at Disney?
Okay, so it's funny coming here. I've actually emotionally been thinking about it, but I was basically I didn't know what exactly I was going to do. I was always into art, but I was kind of in a downward spiral at one point in high school, my end of high school, and I came downstairs and saw the making of The Little Mermaid. And it totally changed my life. And so to even be here with Jodie Benson, I've met her before at the studio, and I could barely speak to her then, but I'm talking about life-changing. Seeing that and realizing that could be me, I could do that kind of thing. That long story short, that was the spark, The Little Mermaid. Yes.
What are your thoughts on the current state of animation, especially from Disney?
Do you know, I don't have many thoughts on it, actually. I haven't been there. The last movie I worked on was The Princess and the Frog. I think, obviously, I know a lot of people in the industry, and they're super talented. I would like to see more original content. When I was there, we were working on 5-6 movies at a time, and I know that our only goal was to make the movies as great as possible. And so I just, maybe that's the goal. No, I just feel like that I would like to see more original content, and not trying to second guess the audience and say, well, this audience might want this, audience might want this, but to just try to deliver a great story.
You have your hand in some of the best Disney films ever. Which one personally means the most to you and why?
You're gonna guys probably think I'm just an emotional mess, but it's when you're an animator at Disney, like at least then, it's your identity. Like you literally, it's your dream come true to be able to do that. And that's who you are, and it's all you live for, is to be like this, to be a part of this legacy. But I say that is because, well, for one, it's Mulan, and Mulan was my first movie, and so many things. It's absolutely life-changing when you get that call. You go from, this is your goal, it's the only dream, to making it. And so when I can watch Mulan, I actually can barely watch Mulan, actually. It's so, I can just cry and cry. I mean, my experiences of living that life. I was 21 when I started at Disney, and the rap party, and when I saw Christina Aguilera sang like as close from me to you, like right there in front of us. I didn't know who she was at the time, actually, but I was like, man, this girl can sing. But it's just like Mulan, and it's just because, and a lot of people would say this when you're working there, is you kind of, when you watch the movies, kind of like the books I write, you kind of don't remember the scenes as much as you remember what you're doing in life during those scenes. I mean, everyone's like that, actually. And I met my wife on Mulan, and my whole life changed on Mulan. And so that's like I think about that's my favorite. As far as a movie goes, story-wise, so Lilo and Stitch probably was, like, the character Lilo was probably my favorite character to work on because of her voice. Because when you're a character animator, and you're hearing these scenes, like literally again and again. Sometimes they're like 1 second, 2 second, like like I told you so, I told you so. And so her voice was amazing. DeVay Chase is her name, that girl's name, and man, that was just hilarious. Every time you heard a new scene, it was just like we'd laugh just watching dailies.
What do you miss the most about working for Disney?
People. I think that you go, and I work basically at home now, right? And I write, and I which is fine. I mean, for having a family, it's kind of easier it's almost a better scenario to work at home like I do now. But I mean, you're surrounded by, you go to the Disney Studios, and every day, and you're surrounded by the best artists on the planet. And you're working on these things that everybody's going to see. At least back then, it was just hit after hit after hit. And you knew that they were going to be big, and that was kind of the thing. Everyone's so proud. Everyone's so proud. You walk in that building, it says the animation. It's just, you got one of those big wooden desks like Frank and Ollie. It's just, you just always felt like you were a part of this legacy. Yes.
Hey, warning, might be an emotional question. But all of us here, I'm assuming, are creative people, right? We're all at MomoCon, creative place. You worked at Disney, very creative place. Even now you're still immersed in that creative space, making wonderful children's books, right? When you're in a space, right, full of these creative people, full of energy and full of enthusiasm, what do you think that kind of does for you, both mentally and emotionally?
Okay, so I think that I never want to leave. When these are done, I ended up doing a lot of cons. I didn't expect to do so many, but the demand is so big that it's like, okay, I'll do this and this here, and they're fun. But when it's done, you meet a lot of people. You kind of meet a lot of people who really are emotional to meet you and stuff like that. And then it's so positive here. And not just MomoCon, but every convention, everyone's happy. Everyone wants to be here. Everyone's accepted here. Everyone's accepted here. And my wife was saying when we were walking in, it's like, you can wear any costume. But in many ways, these aren't even costumes. It's like people walking in a way they feel like that's who they are. Whoever they wear, and it's like, I just feel like I wish all of mankind was like this. Like all of the world was like this. And, there's so much madness in the world at all times. I don't know if there's any more or less than there is now than ever, but sometimes it seems like there is. And you can not forget about it when you're in a place like this, but you just wish everyone, there's no place really for hate in the world. There really just isn't, and I think when you have something in here, it's like, I don't know if love is the right word, but just compassion for people. That's what you find here.
Now, for all those to kind of follow up, with all these creators in this space, if somebody were to watch this video, what advice would you give them to help them pursue their dreams?
Okay, I get that a lot. I do get a question like that, pursue their dreams when and one thing is, like we were talking a little bit earlier, is don't give up on it. Have the more specific your goal can be, the better. But then put your whole heart into it. If you're going to be an artist, I think that you have to be, forget balance, you have to be practically obsessed with the thing. When I was telling you earlier, I was averaging 100 drawings a day, more than that, for years. This is before I got to Disney. And that's what it took. When you get to a level then like at Disney or DreamWorks or any of those places, everyone's like that. And if you want to work for like an A-list company, you have to be, that's the only thing you want to do, basically. And so that's my advice. For one, believe you can do it. And then understand how much work it's going to take. And just do not stop until you make it, period.
So in the pre-interview, you mentioned your feelings about MomoCon and traveling to different conventions. My question to you is, what makes MomoCon special in your opinion?
Okay, so yeah, I've done quite a few. One of them, and this is not a small thing, it just seems extremely organized, incredibly well organized. Where everything is, and it's spread out over a very big space. So nobody, even though there's tens of thousands of people here, you never feel like you're totally shoulder to shoulder with people. And that's, the logistics is a very big deal. And I think it's one of the best things to have this many people this well laid out, I think is great. That's my favorite thing.
Storytelling wise, is there, and if you don't want to share, don't feel like you have to, but is there a story that you've always wanted to tell that you've just kind of held on to in your heart, in your mind, that you're like, it's just not ready yet, but you're almost there, you're ready to tell it?
Well, I'm not quite ready, but more of like my, more like a coming of age type of story. I feel that as an artist, you're doubted, just the feasibility of a career, you're doubted until you make it. So it's the majority of your childhood and even going into college. You say you're going to be an artist, and it's practically mocked. Like, like what are you going to do with that? Even if you go to college, and I mean, I had a full scholarship to college, and it didn't matter. It's art college, right? And so the kind of story, like not just how good you have to be to like try to make it, but what kind of person is required to make it as an artist, and the kind of belief. And so I would like to tell something more like that kind of story as an artist, like the main character is an artist, not just like a superhero or something like that. But I don't know, I haven't really come upon that quite yet, but it's something just more based off of my own life a little bit.